music. So today we're going to do some ambient playing, and I have my Mexican standard Stratocaster from 2001. Great. I guess it's vintage now. 21 years old. You know, not the oldest vintage, but maybe I'm a bit vintage. So, I have the NUX MG30 as I have had for the past a little over a week now. And I am just going to tell you in order that when I'm running. So when I have a wah, it's the horsey wah. The comp is the rose comp. The noise gate design. I have the Distortion Plus model with the output at about 2 o'clock and the sensitivity about the same place. I have the Deluxe Reverb model with everything kind of in the middle for the most part. DR112 IR model, 6-band EQ, the CE1 chorus. Gives a nice silky smooth thing going. I have the intensity pretty far up, the depth about halfway, and the rates down pretty low, maybe on 3 or 9 o'clock. I have the analog delay with the rate all the way up because it's only 400 milliseconds. And then I have the echo at about 3 o'clock, or, you know, all the way to the right, with just a little bit of room for more. The intensity is up about 1 o'clock. Reverb is the Hall, and I have the decay and the pre-delay all the way up. Intensity's down a few notches from all the way, and the level isn't up all that high, because the Hall can get pretty intense and you can kind of lose things in it, but this is like I think it's a good place to have it, so. this is the second patch that I have made for ambient type playing, or at least my particular kind of ambient sort of playing, and I think it will fit into a lot of other styles. So at the end of this video, I will just have a video showing all of the kind of settings for these patches. Maybe if I figure out how to upload them online at some point, I'll post them. So the one that I have right now, though, is called Morning Cleanish, and I'm just gonna say really quick, using pretty much the same effects as before, like types, but I have the K comp instead of the rows. It's a bit less intense. I still have the noise gate. I have the morning drive instead of the distortion plus. So it's a similar tone, but the morning drive is a bit of a kind of clon type overdrive, where you're accentuating the gain and the treble and these, like, the tone of the guitar. It's not really adding as much of a character as like a tube screamer, or especially like a distortion in the style of a Rat would or something like that. It does have its own kind of character, its own kind of little bit of tone that I think it adds, but I think a lot of people would argue that it's more transparent, and it's that tone that it's adding is like in addition to the guitar. So the Bassmate is the amp model that I'm using, and then the IR is the BS410, just the default one. The EQ is the 6-band again. The mod that I have is the SCH1 this time. You could use the same chorus as before, the CE1. I'm still going for that creamy thing. But I think the SCH1 gives a bit more of the modulation layer reminds me a bit more of like a synth kind of keyboard-ish tone being added onto it. And that's just kind of the personal way that I think of it. I remember these pedals were really cheap when I first started playing guitar. A lot of the Arion ones were. So that's really, it's interesting that it's become high demand, and now it's a model on a modeler pedal. The next one is the reverse delay, which, you know, I'm using to get like kind of a pad in the back. And I have the delay at about 899 milliseconds or something like that, and I might change it, you know, with the tab tempo as I'm playing. But I have the feedback up really high. I don't have the mix up that high because I want to be able to get that really clear lead tone with, see, you hear that kind of like that pad in the back, a pad-esque tone, you know. It's not, I'm not using a shimmer. And then I have the room reverb. I was gonna try the damp. I think the damp reverb would be great for an ambient setting, but the room and the hall, you know, they really nail that sort of like that bigger space sort of reverb tone. And I have the decay up quite a bit, and the tone up quite a bit. And the level up quite a bit, so. That's what I'm working with. And we'll play for a minute. Again, the wah-wah with just some kind of different settings. It's more, I have the range set up higher, but I'm still using the Bad Horsey. That's my favorite one because you can modify the tone a bit with it. So. Alright, so this is the last preset that I've made for kind of ambient play. And, you know, I think there's a couple other kinds of things that you could do. I posted a couple of videos that have gotten some views, a decent amount for a channel as small as mine, that have some like post-rock tones with some of the drums on and some little bit of looping, and that works really well. And so I think that the harmonizer, the harmonist effect is really pretty good for a unit like this, and I think that it's definitely usable, and especially with either, you know, your monophonic sort of lead lines, or if you want to try to do chords or do like broken kind of melody chord sort of things, you know, things. But limited to that. If you want, you know, really weird kind of ambient artifacts going on, it'll definitely give you that, because it's more of a vintage harmonizer than it is anything new. It'd be great if they put a polyphonic one on here, like a Pog, but it's $300, guys. So I don't know. The kind of patch that I wanted to do here, though, is something using some more of the really interesting or kind of out there effects. The NUX does have a few of it. Doesn't have as many as your Podgo or your even your Headrush MX5, but it's also a couple $100 cheaper. So, you know, we're still going really cheap with this. Real quick, again, I am going to show you at the very end of the video. I'll film my settings on each one of these presets. But if you don't want to stay till then, just real quick, I'm gonna use no wah this time. I'm gonna try to work in a little bit of the octave shift, which is a whammy expression pedal sort of thing that I have in another video, and it's pretty solid for that. I have the K comp, the noise gate, with the sensitivity up just a little bit, and the decay up to, it's just about at noon. I have the RC boost this time, because there is I have the British Blues model, which is more of a Marshall kind of thing. So I have a crunchier amp with this preset, whereas the other two presets I had a Fender style amp, which was, even the Fender like Bassman model is, you know, it's going to be quieter, but this is a crunchier style amp, so I just have a boost going. And there's that one of those weird effects that I have going on here. There's the Align EQ, just to have a different EQ in there, because there's you have a few different options. The IR, by the way, is the A212. I have the detune mod on, kind of again just to be a little bit different, and the detune is a nice, it really has this very cool kind of, like a detune to me also adds that kind of that synth layer, but it does it kind of in the back. It's, you know, almost like a doubling kind of thing more than it is a modulation. And I'd like to see if eventually if I could get the expression pedal to control some of the shimmer, maybe the shimmer amount. I don't know. I think there's a lot you can do with the expression pedal that I haven't found yet. But I'm going to try to dig into the manual this next week and figure that out. The delay is the modulation. I love modulated delay. It is like one of my favorite effects, and I think it really gives you a nice thick layer. And of course the reverb, like I said, is the shimmer. and the decay is quite, heavy. The mix isn't too heavy. It's only about 11 o'clock because I don't want it a lot of shimmers, and I think this is kind of one, not as much as some other ones I've seen, but one of those ones where if you have the mix up all the way, all your playing kind of gets caught up in that shimmer effect. I haven't played with it a whole lot, but I think this would be a better setting to have at the beginning of a song and then switch to something with a bit less going on, because the shimmer is gonna be very prominent, as you'll see. So.
So I mean, the tracking's not really there for chords, but I thought there was kind of a neat thing, which is doing little power chords. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you made it all the way to this point, because I think this is going to end up being kind of a long video, hopefully a deep dive into some of the ambient tones of the NUX MG30. I really thank you for watching this far. I'm going to do some more vaporwave mixes coming up, and probably one pretty soon.
because it's been like a little over a week since I did the last one, and those are pretty popular most of the time. There's a liminal space video that I did with some of those those shots, and those can be really soothing and comforting for some people. I think they're really interesting. I would like to start up doing videos kind of here and there about just, I don't know, personal things, existential things, just about weird stuff. Yeah, you know, that kind of thing. Not as much as the guitar stuff and not as much as the vaporwave. But, so that's what's coming up. Thanks for checking out this video. Thanks for hanging out with me for a good while. And take care. Please like and subscribe. You know, as long as you like the video, please like it. If you didn't like the video, I don't know why you're still watching. Okay, so the lighting is hopefully pretty decent here. This is the first setting, and we're just gonna go in.